paid $16 million for lawyers who defend Donald Trump himself and people who work for him in the ongoing probes and in response to other legal issues such as Trump's recent indictment in Manhattan and the upcoming trial in the case brought by E. Jean Carroll for civil rape and for defamation. That case is set to go to trial in the federal court in New York in the Southern District. So Donald Trump has been using all of this PAC money to pay for lawyers, and one of the things that Special Counsel Jack Smith is focused on is have those payments and have those lawyers who've received those payments basically exhorted or cajoled or forced the witnesses to provide testimony that they would not have otherwise provided if they were not being paid by Donald Trump. And so you'll recall, for example, that Cassidy Hutchinson, who was a former Trump White House aide, when she testified before the January 6th committee, she explained that at first, Donald Trump provided a lawyer for her, and Donald Trump paid for the lawyer for her, and that lawyer tried to get her, and that lawyer coached her and tried to get her to say she couldn't recall things that she actually could recall. And after her first meetings with the January 6th committee lawyers, where she said she couldn't recall things which she could recall, she felt, wait a minute, am I committing perjury here? And so she got rid of that lawyer, and then she finally hired independent counsel, and she told the truth before the January 6th committee. It's also very curious as well that Donald Trump has diverted Save America PAC money to things like the E. Jean Carroll civil case, as well as his criminal indictment in Manhattan. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of that money that was raised by Donald Trump, I think about $250 million he raised by making false allegations about election fraud and sending out these emails after the November 2020 election through the insurrection and thereafter, lying about election fraud and continuing to perpetuate the big lie. But he basically said, you know, that money would be going to things like a legal defense fund, and there wasn't a legal defense fund that even existed. There wasn't an election defense fund. I've done a previous report on this that Special Counsel Jack Smith is also investigating criminal wire fraud charges based on potential misrepresentations by Donald Trump and his aides, whereby they sent out these false and materially misleading emails to raise over $100 million, hundreds of millions of dollars, and the money didn't go to those sources. Instead, the money went to things like paying for lawyers in E. Jean Carroll's case and paying for lawyers in connection with the criminal indictment in Manhattan. Sources told CNN as well that these are some of the questions that Special Counsel Jack Smith's team has been asking these more than 24 aides and staffers at Mar-a-Lago who have received lawyers, basically, that Donald Trump pays for. So this is what a source said. They wanted to know who's paying, how did they invoice, did the lawyers tell you what to say, did they get you to alter your testimony in any meaningful way? And questions like that. You know, one of the things to remember, too, I gave you the example of Cassidy Hutchinson, where she said that she was being coached by her lawyer to say she couldn't recall things that she could recall. There's also an example here in connection with Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation that would raise serious red alerts here and red flags. And that is an individual by the name of Walt Nauta, who worked for Trump in the White House. I think he was responsible for basically getting Donald Trump his Coca-Colas. And then he worked with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. He first told the FBI with respect to Trump directing that boxes be moved after Trump received a subpoena